Hello, and welcome to my sixth ET Pick a Card reading. Today's reading will explore how the ET species you are most connected with influences your daily life. Hello, welcome to your ET reading. This is one of my favorite things to do. I'm so happy you're joining me. Today's ET reading is going to be really fun. This reading is going to tell you how your ET connections really affect your life. I think a lot of people who get interested in ETs, there's an initial interest about just, what are they? Who are they? What do they look like? How do I connect to them? And then after the initial questions are sort of answered or maybe not answered at all, we begin to wonder about our connections to ETs. And the truth is that ETs seeded our planet. Their DNA is mixed in with ours. And so, very likely, you are connected to several different ET races or genotypes, I think they call them. So, in today's reading, we're going to, for each pile, we will connect generally with one of the predominant genotypes that you're connected to, and also answer some questions about how that really affects your life. Now, I can't guarantee that for each pile it's going to say, you are Andromedan. It may not say the name of any ET race or genotype, but it will tell you how it is affecting your life regardless. And the truth is that now at this point in our evolution, we're all kind of a Heinz 57 kind of mix of ET races and genotypes. There's been so much intermingling of the DNA that I don't think you would be able to find even one person on the planet who is just purely one ET race. I just don't think that's possible. The descriptions for all the cards will be down below. But for the contact cards, I just want to tell you there are 5 suits in this deck. The alien suit, which is going to represent you, the seeker. The ship's suit, which is going to be the vehicle or method that you're going to use. The stars, which will illuminate the energy that is needed by you, the planets, which will describe the situation, and the crop circles, which will bring advice, a message, or guidance. So let's get on with the readings. Before we do that, I'm gonna give you some time to look at the stones that I've picked for each of the piles. Let me just move this up here, and I'll try to put the stones on so that they don't cover up the cards. And maybe that will make it easier for you to find. So this one really disappears. I'll put this one on top of the cards so you can see it. Okay, so we have a celestite, my big celestite geode crystal. I love this stone. So that's pile number 1. Then we have pile number 2 is a selenite palm stone. Really fun. Usually selenite is rough, and this is so nice that they polished it down. And the smoky quartz chunky tower point thing. So just take a minute and look at those. And when we come back, we'll be starting with the blue celestite. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn over, the cards, the contact cards, so that you can see them. And they go in this order. This is card number 1, card number 2, card number 3, card number 4, card number 5, card number 6, and card number 7. Okay, so let's get into it. So the first position is the challenge or the circumstances, the question that you're asking about this. And we're trying to ask the question, how do your ETs really influence you in your life? And the first thing is that shows up as the challenge or question is the stars, and stars are illuminating the energy needed. So that's the first part, is that you're going to find that this is some sort of a question or challenge in your life. Just, what is this? What is going on with these ET connections? So let's look at this. The challenge in the beginning for you, for those of you who's picked the Celestite, is that it's very vast. You are a galaxy. You are filled with energy and things that are coming into being and ending. In a galaxy, you have gas and stardust creating things. And you have an impulse and a compulsion to become more, to grow things, to create things. You have beautiful meteor showers throwing light over everything. You have music, the hum of the universe playing. You have planets dying and being born, creating kingdoms that are rising up and falling down. You have young stars, which are getting brighter and brighter and then leaving. So you have all sorts of things coming into being and also dying. A complete garden of things in the universe that are being created. You are a galaxy. So for you, it's, I think, a little unfocused. It's a little difficult for you to wrap your head around the idea of what is really going on with your ET connection. So I would say try to focus and learn more about it. Let's go on to the next card and see if we can find some clarity. Card 2, Seeker's Beliefs, is the planet Mars. It looks like this. It's just a planet with a face inserted in it. All right. So let's find out about the planet Mars. So for you, the Martian energy that imposes itself on you can result in anger, and in anger and rage that lies below the surface, causing you to feel like you must fight. So flight or fight is sort of a constant theme in your emotional landscape. Having that feeling all the time is exhausting. So the goal for you is to raise your vibration and to understand that to get past all of this angst and anger, you must figure out a scenario where everybody wins. You cannot live your life thinking that it's a zero-sum game, that if I win, you lose. It has to be that we all win, or win-win. If you can raise your vibration up enough to embrace that and to practice it all the time, you serve not only yourself, but you serve the higher good. Just remember that if you have to convince somebody of your point of view, then you're kind of wasting your breath. Your point of view should be strong enough to stand on its own. And if it's viable for that person to adhere to that point of view, naturally they will evolve to it. But it's not necessary for you to be at peace with yourself to have them agree with you. Again, find the win-win scenario so that you can both win and both have grace, and you'll be much happier. Now, the next card is about your own beliefs and how that is affecting you in this quest. And for that, we have a crop circle Mandelbrot. Okay, so we have that image. Let's look at that. The symbol of the Mandelbrot is chaos and perfection. This card tells you that there is a need for precision within your actions and clarity within your choices. But it also says that all your choices and actions are perfect. So attention to detail is critical, but don't act harshly and haphazardly. Uh, you must follow what is true for you. There are no accidents in your life. There is a logical orchestration of your choices. So know that you create your own reality and realize that you are designing your future and you have designed your past. So I guess this card also means that you are already taking responsibility for everything that you're doing. So be precise in your choices. As you change things in your life, your reactions to life must also change. So I think this is a good thing to study, that you are a growing organic being. You are not static. You do not stay the same. And the choices that you make about your life should also not stay the same. They should also grow. So, as far as your beliefs go, you may feel that you're hemmed in because you don't know what to choose. You don't know the perfect. You don't know what the cause and effect may be. So, stand back and observe, analyze, figure that out, and then make more choices. So it's not going to be easy for you because you've got the whole galaxy here with all of its possibilities. But yet the universe is saying, choose carefully. And with a galaxy, there doesn't seem to be a need for detail and care, but in fact, there really is. So for those of you picking the Celestite, you do have to be more discerning. I think that's the word. You do need to be much more discerning and use good judgment in what you choose to do and say and act upon. All right, let's move on to the next card. Okay, the fourth card that we have is Mantis, aliens. And the position for number 4 is your thought patterns. Drawing the Mantis card shows that you need to carry an attitude of authority with you. Carrying this attitude allows you to go unquestioned and allows your authority to carry the full weight of your responsibilities. There is the danger that you will become arrogant with this authority and just become authoritative, authoritarian, and self-absorbed, but you can challenge this. Mantis has razor sharp intellect. It forces you to make choices of precision. So this goes along very, very well with the Galaxy card and even with the Mars card and the Mandelbrot, because it challenges you to think precisely and to make precise choices. Walk the walk, talk the talk, be your authoritative self, but don't be an authoritarian. You need to live life. You need to not feel like you're above the masses. You need to have a balance and you need to engage in life rather than expecting everybody to do things for you. However, you are an amazing creature and you do have leadership abilities. And so that's why you need to learn and manage this authoritative air or attitude in order to achieve your goals. So I think this is creating a nice picture here of what you are and how your ET DNA is really informing the way you live your life now. Now let's go on to number 5, the ships, which is the position for the actions that are extending from all of this platform. So this is nice. This position 5 are the actions that are extending from your beliefs, and they do really connect very, very well. The cargo ship is one that shows that you will go far and wide to obtain and procure items that you will then sell to others. So you are literally a shipping container, right? But more than that, this is talking about business and commerce. It's talking about big business, exchange, sweeping change, moving things along. And with the card of the mantis right next to it, I think that you are on the verge of making big, sweeping changes in your life. Maybe taking on a big promotion or opening your own business or going on to something that's a much larger enterprise, or maybe just slightly larger than what you've been doing, but maybe in your previous environment, you were the smaller middleman and now you're going to be the leader. And that's why you pulled the mantis card, but also the cargo ship. This symbolizes abundance and diversity of riches, and it indicates that you will get rewards and recognition for a job well done. Now, having all of that bounty coming to you also means that you have to pay attention to balance, as in the warning of the mantis card, where you could become authoritarian. You may begin to expect this huge bounty of riches to always be there, even without your precision and hard work. So you do need to keep a balance here, but it does promise great things coming to you. And the galaxy card now, showing all the things and all the possibilities that are there, makes a great deal of sense. You're not unfocused, you're terribly focused, as Mars and the Mandelbrot have indicated. You're terribly focused and terribly capable of leading a very large, let's call them an army of people to do the work. And also, you're able to manage it. But just keep your balance. Just make sure that you understand that you also have to be intricately involved with this. You're not just sitting back and pulling strings, you're actually actively involved. And now let's move on to card 6, which is the best process to understand the patterns in force and how you are to achieve your desired outcome. So interesting. So the mothership, another ship, is the next card. And this talks about mother's love and relationship and what it takes to support a relationship. And so for you to have these things come to a beautiful fruition, you need to allow support and unconditional love in all your actions, especially at the beginning of this new relationship, which I think is a new enterprise. Mother love nurtures us in a way that allows us to discover and grow and find our inner strength. However, it can become controlling and it can instill a fear of abandonment in one. So you have to resist smothering people and over controlling people and allow them to grow underneath you. And that's part of the thing about the cargo ship and the Enterprise. If you are the leader, the mantis, right? If you are this very precise, smart leader, then you've got to allow your army to take on their own responsibilities and do their own jobs. You can't micromanage them. That shows you don't trust them. So if you allow them to manage themselves, under your direction, then you are revered and respected. And that's really important. And that shows that you do need to retain this balance in order to succeed in all of these things. This card can also say that it's time for you to pay attention to children, those who are in your life or those who are coming into your life, and to remind you that each action and project that you support is another kind of child. So this enterprise that you are starting is also another child that you need to raise up, that you need to love strongly enough so that they become strong and independent as well, so that they don't have to rely on you. That's very interesting, with the Mars and the anger and perfecting that, and the precision of your choices here with Mandelbrot, and the extreme intelligence and ability to command authority with the Mantis. Very interesting, this path that you're taking here. And then the planet's Mercury is the final outcome. It's your desired outcome is Mercury. Final card in the desired outcome is the planet Mercury. And this means that we need to pay attention to all our communications. We may have messages that we need to give others, and we may be receiving important information as well. Given all the other cards that have just played out in this reading, I'm going to say that you are going to be in receipt of very important messages about your new enterprise. And I'm also going to say that your clarity as a leader, your clarity and precision in your communications to everybody in your enterprise are of paramount importance. It's super, super, super important for you to relay your directives and your communiques very clearly, really concisely, very precisely, so that there's no misunderstandings. This is not a lack of trust. This is not you micromanaging. This is you being very, very clear in your directions so that you don't have to micromanage. So that's the contact cards portion of the reading. Let's go on to the oracle cards. And if you want to pause the reading at this point and or the video at this point and leave me a comment down below about these cards, about this reading, about this layout, please do so. These cards are fascinating to me. I'm so glad that I got them. And let's move on to the oracle cards. So for the oracle cards, I chose one from the ET Experiencer deck by Tana Newberry, and one from the Starseed deck by Rebecca Campbell. Here is the Rebecca Campbell card, and here is this card. What this card says from their guidebook. I do have a bigger guidebook on this deck, but I'm just going to read the simple explanation here because I think that's going to be enough for most people. And the card just says, you've encountered a being from Sirius. It's not saying that you are from Sirius. It's saying you've encountered a being who is connected with one of the Sirius planets. And this says, those from Sirius make loyal, trustworthy friends, but expect the same in return. They become hurt and disillusioned when these expectations are not met. Sirians do not share the interpersonal self with others easily, and may have difficulty sharing emotions and expressing feelings and needs. To be fully accepted and trusted as a close personal friend of a Sirian means that you have been carefully scrutinized. Sirians may have difficulty in relationships and friends when they expect to be treated in a certain way, but do not share their expectations with the others involved. This comes into the idea that you need to be very, very careful and clear in your directives to the people that you're working with. Especially if there's Sirians involved, you need to be especially clear because they then will be very clear back to you. It's important to work with sharing expectations, ideals, communicating needs and desires to avoid being hurt and disillusioned. This often occurs as a result of lack of communication or a lack of mutual understanding and clarity in relationships. And that's all of the things that I just said. Okay, so the next card is from the Starseed Oracle, and it is cracked open, rock bottom, surrender to the alchemy of life. Clearly, this is saying that you need to open yourself up. You need to let yourself get the inner stuff out. And this goes along too with being very clear in your communications with people, but this is talking more emotionally. And this is going back to the mothership card, that this has to do with relationships as well as your new enterprise. Be open to being cracked open, wide open. It's the difficult times that help us grow in leaps and bounds and in ways we could only dream were possible. But first, they have to crack us open. Sometimes it hurts like hell. It's nature's way. Whether you let it happen or not, it's going to happen. So surrender to the process. It's how the light gets in. So think of that when you are cracked open. You are not only having white light surround you, but you're allowing that white light inside of you. When your heart cracks open, a space is created for your soul to more fully enter. When your soul cracks open, a space is created for the grace of the Holy Spirit to enter. Let your trials, your sorrows, your pains, and your losses transform you into more and more of yourself. Stay open to the possibility that your tragedies, your losses, your sorrows, and your hurt happened for you, not to you. Bless the thing that broke you down and cracked you open, because the world needs you open. Surrender to the alchemy of life. Okay, so that's your reading for the people who chose the blue celestite geode crystal. All right, so we're going to move on to the selenite palm stone. Okay, so we're going to turn over all of your cards so that you can see them, and we're going to get into the reading. Okay, and we have card number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7. Wow, look at all the crop circle cards you got. Very, very interesting. The crop circle cards are all about messages. So, number 1 is the Mandelbrot. And the first position in this reading has to do with the challenge, the quest, the circumstances. So, the challenge for you are that you're trying to make everything perfect. You're trying to make everything very, very, very precise. And it's driving you crazy because you also see that if you try too hard and you're too exacting, you'll defeat your purpose, because then you won't be open-minded and creative and allow other ideas to come in that may improve your idea. You create everything that happens to you. You are the designer of your life. And so there is a cause and an effect, and they actually are all the same, and they all emanate from you. So understanding consequences is a big factor in this, in the challenge of what's going on with you. There is also the question of synchronicity. Um, there are no random accidents. This is all orchestrated by your choices. This is foundational energy. Things are built upon other things. So the big things are built upon small things. The initial choices are probably small choices, and then they get bigger and bigger. And that's as it should be. You should grow in the way that you make decisions and choices and the way you design your life. Don't be content to keep making the same kinds of choices. Allow yourself to grow. Allow your growth to inform the choices that you're going to make. And the next card is your beliefs. And I have a ship here, the Explorer. Looks like this. Got that triangle shaped ship that people have seen so many times. Okay. This card indicates that you're willing to go and do anything to get what you want. You're willing to believe that the universe will constantly amaze you, and you desire to be amazed. You have insatiable curiosity, and you know right now that you're in the abyss. You're in uncharted waters, and you want to understand, but you also just plain want to discover. You want to go from thing to thing to thing and be enchanted and seduced by each thing, each new thing that you see. You're thrilled by the discovery of new things. You're in a constant state of change in your life, and you have to learn to live with uncertainty. For most explorers, that is just fine. And I do want to read this final paragraph from the guidebook on this card because I think it's helpful. Exploring the unexplored also requires great respect and validation for all the ways creation can express itself. If we carry our primal fears and arrogant assumptions with us into pristine territory, we may cloak its denizens in our own demonic design rather than perceive these foreigners in their own light of truth. So very interesting. So while it shows you moving into the great unknown with an open mind, you still have judgments. You still have biases and beliefs that you carry with you. And that's where, from the Mandelbrot, You need to learn to upgrade and update your opinions and judgments. All right, let's move on to the next card, which is your own emotional tapestry and what illuminates and causes your own emotional patterns. And that's also represented by a ship, the Scout. Okay, let's look at the Scout. This is the card for marriage. This is the card that shows that we are in relationship with ourselves, with others. And to support those relationships, we need to go away and come back and speak to our partner and explore that relationship, explore how they feel about the things that we talk about and how we feel about the things that they talk about. This indicates a treasured relationship, a relationship that has been built over time, where you can glory in the intimacy and friendship that has been built and has matured as a result of real love. Also, this card might be saying to you, have you abandoned your love? Have you abandoned those intimate conversations and the sharing of deep friendship with your partner? Perhaps you need to figure out why. Perhaps you need to literally scout around and figure out the reason for that. If the ultimate conclusion to this is that the relationship has run its course and there is no more for you to treasure in the relationship, then the kindest thing to do is to allow that relationship a respectful ending and closure. But if that's not the case, if it's just a question of, some benign negligence, you can correct that, scout around for a reason, maybe even for a gift for your loved one, bring it home and start over. And that explorer and scout allows you to embrace emotional wholeness in a wonderful way. And the next card is the seeker's thought patterns, your thought patterns. And for that one, we have actually an alien card. We have Arcturus. And Arcturus is one of the more rare alien tribes or races that we see connected with the Earth. So this card, this reading so far has a very nice emotional quality to it. And no wonder. Arcturus, the card Arcturus indicates that you have been opened up to the angelic realm and that you have angelic guides with you all the time. This speaks to that small voice within that helps you to remain aligned with your truth and allows you to view life from a child's open and trusting perspective. This is not to say that you should always act with naivete and you should trust just every single living being. The challenge is to transform that vulnerability, which is the willingness to be open to the choices the universe offers us, and change that into the strength of belief in your own unique talents and gifts. And this makes it possible for you to see the world in new ways, which is what the explorer and the scout are all about. Arcturus indicates a high degree of connection to the etheric realms, which bring the opportunity for emotional healing, rejuvenation, and accessing the collective consciousness level of universal information known as the Akashic Records. With this in hand, you can always be assured that loving guidance is at your side all the days of your life. So really, really wonderful combination of energies and cards here telling you that you are connected to the angels and the angels are connected to Arcturus. And isn't it interesting that the name Arcturus is a part of what we call the angels, the archangels? Okay, now we're going on to card 5, which is the actions extending from your beliefs. And again, we have, and now we have a second crop circle, the crucifix. So the actions that you are taking are getting a warning. It's saying, taking the shortest route to your destination may not be the most advantageous for the long run. You may find that if you just try to go quickly to where you're going and you don't take in any of the side streets or the side roads, you miss a lot. And because of that, you miss the boat entirely. Now, this goes along with your other ship cards. The Scout and the Explorer are all about finding new things, whereas the Crucifix is warning you, if you don't stop and look at those new things, you're going to miss out quite a bit. The Crucifix says, while it is good to have a goal to pull you along towards a final destination, it's not good to skip all those little things along the way. So in this instance, it is good to sort of have a squirrel mind and to look at the bright and shiny object out of the corner of your eye, then fully turn around and go towards that object and explore it. It's saying that exploring those things allows you to gain different perspectives on life and on your whole world. And this is important. When you get this card, it's a warning that you could be overlooking things. You could be so doggedly pursuing a finite and single goal that you forget to scout around and look for other possibilities. Also, this could indicate that in your relationships, which have been showing up in these cards, you could be taking things for granted. You could be overlooking things and ignoring your partner. So make sure that you slow down a little bit, look at all the side roads, and remember your partner in this. When you discover something new, think about whether they would like to see that or they would love that if you brought that home to them or something, how you would involve them, some way that you would involve them. Okay, so the next card, number 6, is the best process in order to get the best outcome. And that's also a crop circle card, the Sun God. So let's look and see what that has to say. Sun God card indicates that the path that you are on is protected, and that as you go about your work and as you pursue your goals, you will be shown the path of least resistance and the most effective path. But there are also a few other things that the Sun God talks about. I'm just going to read from the book here. This card also illuminates the danger of allowing our ego to assume that it is in charge of our total being. When doing its designated job of helping us to focus our consciousness through the mask of personality, the ego is a good tool. But if the ego is allowed to replace our higher knowing self, it will attempt to control every detail of our lives instead of granting equal time to intuition. If care is not taken, this tendency can quickly inflate into megalomania. When we are fair and generous, we will always remain the champions of justice and not merely the arbiters of law and order. And that also goes back to your relationships. So keep all of this in mind. And then the final desired outcome card is also a crop circle, and it's called Lightning Strikes. This desired outcome card is very exciting. This means that you could be on the verge of a spiritual awakening, a spiritual revelation of sorts, but it gives you great power. Lightning is undiminished electrical power. So you do have to be careful that those around you, those in relationship with you, do not get burned or blown up by this lightning strike that you command. Make sure that you ground yourself. Don't let yourself be burnt out by this overload of electrical power. Make sure that you keep yourself balanced with your relationship in order that you can manage the power and wield it and use it to the best advantage. At any rate, this card is about getting up and getting going. This is telling you to stop waiting, stop hesitating, jump in, forge ahead with assurance and boldness and conviction, and do it. Do it now. What it warns about is that you can't criticize your own passion and creativity. You have to just move forward with it. There's no time for long debates about it uh, and overly analyzing the process. Just get in with activity and express your passion and conviction. You do need to be somewhat careful, as I said before. If you're overzealous, if you charge in too hot, um, anything that's not insulated will be diminished, will be ruined by the voltage, by the high voltage of this lightning strike. So be sensitive and compassionate to those around you. Allow the energy to flow in order to empower others that you come in contact with and not destroy them and not hurt them. Now, this is going to seem like big change to people around you. So allow them to understand the change, allow yourself to understand the profound changes that you're going to go through, and allow yourself to adapt to that change. Keep connection with your partner. Make sure that your partner understands the changes that you're going through as well. Make sure that your partner benefits from this lightning strike and is not burned by the lightning strike. So that's the reading for the contact cards. Let's move on to the oracle cards. And before I do, you might want to pause the video for just a moment. Think about the things that I've said and then leave me a comment down below about it. I just love these cards. I'm really getting into these cards. Okay, so let's go with first the ET Experiencer card, and it says Procyon. You've encountered a being from Procyon. So let's find out about that. So Procyon individuals will have a definite ET appearance. I won't get too much into that. You can do your own research and find out about that. But here's the characteristics that are remarked on in the book. There's a strong sense of responsibility, nurturing, and caring. They may find fulfillment in working with children, those who are ill or in need of care and support. So they're basically caretakers. At times, however, they may be overly responsible for others and may need to remind themselves of the importance of teaching responsibility as well as being responsible. They may need to work with developing a stronger sense of feeling the integrity of others, as they may find themselves taken advantage of due to their caring nature. They may find others attracted to their understanding energy. They seek variety, challenge, and understanding of the many questions they have within. They may become bored easily. They tend to analyze, question, and doubt all which they do not understand, does not meet their belief system, or simply does not feel right, although they're quite willing to learn, change, and grow. They may need understanding to occur on an inner level to allow opening within for change to occur. This understanding will not be of a practical, logical nature. It will be an inner comprehension that will be more a feeling that leads to a knowing instead of a technical understanding. So you may have encountered a being from Procyon, and that description will help you understand if you have. And then we have from the Starseed Oracle, a new earth, it's happening, keep holding the vision. And given that last card that we just pulled, the lightning strike from the contact cards, you very well may be a person who is showing this vision to other people. So let's read about the new earth. Don't give up now. You're closer than you think. I know it's hard to hold the frequency of a new age when it feels as if so much is crumbling and so many are losing faith. This is your sign that you're facing the right direction. You have a great gift in being able to see the potential of things before they exist. Tend to the new seeds. Dream them into existence. Don't lose faith now. Keep your focus fixed. Planting new seeds and bringing about a shift of the ages is no mean feat. It requires extreme trust and a radical vision. If you pull this card, it's a reminder to have faith. You chose to be here, to be part of this global shift. Whether you're bringing it about through prayer and meditation or through working on a new project, job, or creation, keep going. It's happening. Don't give up now. The world needs more dreamers like you, more people with hope in their hearts. The road ahead may not be plain sailing. Ushering in a new age of time of change never is. You're being encouraged to remember that what you've been working toward for so long is almost here. Don't question yourself now. Don't waver. Dig your devotion deep. For if you do, In the not too distant future, you will be able to sit back and watch all that you've so carefully planted and nurtured grow and bloom. It's possible. Keep focusing on your dreams. You're closer than you think. Beautiful, beautiful ending to a reading. So that is your reading for those of you who picked the selenite palm stone. And now I'm going to clear the cards here and do the shuffle for the smoky quartz. Okay, so this is the reading for those of you who chose the smoky quartz point. Try saying that 5 times fast. I certainly can't do it. And we've got the contact cards and the oracle cards, and let's get into the reading. Okay, here are our contact cards. Let's turn them over. Right, right. Let's get going. So the card number 1 is a crop circle, and this stands for you in the question, your challenge in this whole thing about how does your ET connection influence you in daily life? So the first thing we're going to look at is the hermaphrodite crop circles card, and the card looks like this. Very simple. And hermaphrodite card is an invitation to embrace the totality of our being and all the dichotomy or polarity that we contain. So remember, these cards were published, I believe, in the 80s. Let me just look at the original copyright date. Oh, the 90s, 1996. Still, it's quite a while ago. And this is quite a modern viewpoint on this. So I'm pretty sure it was channeled. This energy teaches us to remain neutral within all situations and not to impose our outdated meanings and labels on them. Instead, learn to accept yourself and them for who and what we are. Find strength in the blending and balancing of all of these aspects. Rather than assuming that certain qualities don't really belong within us, we can rely on them to give us a unique inner perspective and act as a support or stepping stone for the attributes we prefer to exhibit outwardly. This also allows us to be more sensitive to other people's feelings and choices that seem different from us. They're only revealing an aspect of ourselves that we have chosen not to express as prominently. This is the power of paradox, and this can be a teaching tool. When we find ourselves assuming that only our viewpoint is valid, we need to remember that we also must contain the opposite view, since nothing can exist with only one side. So drawing this card may mean that you are getting ready to face a difficult or challenging situation. You may want to spend some time viewing the circumstances from another perspective if possible, and then you may find that new solutions present themselves. So all interactions and relationships reflect yet another aspect or attribute that we ourselves contain. Very interesting with this card. So the challenge for you is to be circumspect, is to allow yourself to understand that there is difference in the world and there's also sameness. And for everything that you are not. It's a really, really big lesson there to learn. And that's you and your challenge. Now, this card is your beliefs. And this is a very interesting card as well. It's an alien card and it says mantis. So this is talking about the mantis beings, the insectoid beings that are, they really don't look like humans. They really look like insects. And the mantis shows that you are an authority somewhere in your life, a very high authority, and that part of the way that you manage that position is by being terribly confident, is by showing others that you are not afraid, that you can handle it. Now, the difficulty with that and the knife edge of that position is that you can become authoritarian. You can become too prejudiced against the people who are actually working for you and think that they are not worthy of you. So you do have to be a little bit careful with the mantis, but also the mantis is showing that you are a leader and that you have precise thought, which may be in direct conflict with your belief system of the hermaphrodite. So you may need to check yourself. You may need to think carefully or to observe first and then speak when you're dealing with other people. And then we have the card, which is in the position for your emotional tapestry, which is the cause of your emotional pattern. And again, we have an alien card. We have the Zeta. So the Zeta insists that you look closer at your relationships and circumstances and see where there may be a communication or emotional disconnection. A lot of times these things are not obvious. They don't come to the surface, but there may be secrets that need to be revealed or hidden agendas that should be exposed. You may be keeping secrets from yourself, or you may be keeping secrets from others. And in all aspects of your consciousness, you are not in agreement with this position. So honesty with everyone in your life is mandatory as the Zeta, but it's even more essential to that you're candid introspectively with yourself. This demands that you look beyond who you believe yourself to be and seek to be more aware of who you actually are. You may have become unbalanced by depending on your left brain too much. Your processes may be too logical, too intellectual, and this is bolstered by the Mantis card. While your emotions are being ignored and suppressed, and you need more compassion and less detachment, especially in your relationships. So seek support from the right brain intuitive self to bring yourself into balance. Additionally, this means that you need to look at your personal boundaries and beliefs and define who you are so that you have that boundary so that you're not feeling that people are invading your space. Your hidden agenda and agreements may be part of a bigger picture, and you may be slightly out of touch with your higher purpose. So this card is really asking you to take a deep, deep, deep look, while this card is saying, oh, but I'm already the authority, so I don't need to look. So make sure you do look. One of the things about the mantis, though, is that you do need to keep things in balance, because you can easily become out of balance by believing that you are the total authority of the world, of the universe, and you're not. You're the authority in one area, in one industry, in one job. So you need to look at those things and make sure that you are truly, truly imbalanced. And then we come to position number 4, which is your actual thought patterns, which is ruled by Mercury. And Mercury is a card of communication. So this card indicates that soon you may need to either reveal a message or you may have a message revealed to you, but that in all cases, your communications are super, super, super important. You need to be clear. You need to be definitive. You need to make sure you think through all of the steps that you need to communicate with people so that you're completely understood and not misunderstood. And I think that's why you're having the previous cards, starting with the hermaphrodite, so that you are not misunderstood either in your thoughts and directives or in your prejudice and beliefs. You need to make sure that you understand who you're dealing with, what you're dealing with, and how you feel about it. And then school yourself, think before you speak about it. The next card is the actions, which will be the direct result of your beliefs of all of this stuff. So the actions that you're going to take. So the Mandelbrot is the card which is dictating your actions. And this means that there is a need for precision and clarity in all of your choices. This is very nice that it's next to Mercury, because you will be very, very clear and precise in your communications. As long as you know what is important to you internally, you should be able to communicate it outwardly, externally. This is foundational energy, so that what you're dealing with, first you have small steps that you're taking, and then you're taking larger and larger steps based upon those initial small steps. So it's important that you know who you are, know what you believe, that you are not judging people unfairly and in out of date terms. And then the precision with which you take action will be correct. And that's what Mercury and the Mandelbrot really are all about. This is also a card, a symbol of synchronicity, where you may think that things are happening haphazardly or randomly or just synchronously, and they're not. They're happening as a result of your choices, which are communicated to other people either very well and precisely or not very well at all. So this is going to be your design. The Mandelbrot is your design. It's you creating your future. The sixth card asks us to get advice about how to alter our actions or behavior or thoughts in order to affect the desired outcome. And with this, we have the stars, a stars card, and it is the black hole. So to get the most out of the thing that you are doing now, you must realize that this is a very serious situation, and there is a great deal of weight given to all of your decisions and communications. Somewhere deep inside you, the answers reside. You must venture into the center of your being. This may be a dark time, filled with morbid fears and deep doubts about who we are, why we're here, why we're doing this. It's important that you understand that. Yet there is the possibility of being rewarded with the rainbow at the end of the storm. You are your own light. You are shining at the end of every self-made tunnel. And just as the Mandelbrot is the card of synchronicity in designing your own future, the black hole is showing you the results of your actions. Oops, down here. And just as the Mandelbrot is the card of synchronicity and designing your own future, the black hole is showing you the results of your actions. The black hole means that you're going through a great transition from your familiar concepts to your yet unrealized potential. This can seem to paralyze us, to cement us in uncertainty. If we anticipate it, we may feel trapped. We may withdraw. We may feel depressed. We may feel like we just want to collapse in on ourselves because it's too big. But everyone feels like that from time to time. Instead of resisting this inward plunge, you need to redefine your depression as compression. That intense, creative imperative forces you to rethink all that you know, and then helps you to re-emerge from your black cocoon completely reborn. This may be a passage of a dark night of the soul, where you cut ties with the rest of the world. And the depth of your solitude is necessary in order to heal the sorrow that lies buried under the weight of decades of denial. So remember the hermaphrodite. There is acknowledgement and denial. There is great sorrow and great joy. All of these things work in complementary motion. The universe is infinite in an inward direction and an outward direction. So even if you were facing death, there would always be the promise of rebirth. So never be afraid of going forward or going within. And the last card is the explorer, and this is your desired outcome. When you get the explorer card, this indicates insatiable curiosity. This is the card of the sorcerer, the scientist, the artist, the magician, the shaman, the portion of your awareness that seeks to know all that can be known, and then asks to go further beyond those boundaries. So you are desiring to go into the abyss, to go into the uncharted waters with nothing to guide you but imagination and intuition. You are going to explore where no one has gone before, and you must be prepared to expect the unexpected. While you're in that energy, you will be sustained by the thrill of the search. You will be seduced by the labyrinth and strengthened by the revelation of each thing brought to light. You have to be willing to let change be the only constant in your life and learn to enjoy the uncertainty. Going this far brings with it untold rewards. Exploring the unexplored also requires great respect and validation for all the ways creation can express itself. Remember, you're coming from the black hole. So you're coming from the possibility and potential of rebirth through the abyss of darkness and the unknown. So not surprising that you get the explorer. One thing I'm going to read directly from the book. If we carry our primal fears and arrogant assumptions with us into pristine territory, we may cloak its denizens in our own demonic design rather than perceive these foreigners in their own light of truth. So, very exciting there. Now let's move on to the oracle cards, which are from the Starseed Oracle and the ET Experiencer cards. So the ET Experiencer card says, hybrid program, you are a genetic participant. Not surprising. And the Starseed Oracle says, jump in, Andromedan energy, adventure, say yes to change. So let's read about these cards. First, I'm going to read about the hybrid program. A hybrid child has DNA and energetic material of both humans and one or more extraterrestrial species. I'm sure it's more than one. The hybrid program is the name given to the extraterrestrial agenda of their creation. While the hybrid children card represents meeting a hybrid child, this card represents an involvement in the production of the hybrid children. Contact dreams relating to the hybrid program include various elements, including biological sampling and conception. Involvement in the hybrid program is one of the most predominant experiences within the extraterrestrial contact phenomena. It's a large topic in ufology. So what this is saying is that you may be a participant in the hybrid program, which means you may be a helper, you may have contributed your DNA, you may have done this under when you were visiting a ship of some kind. And trust me, even though you may look upon this as something that you didn't agree to, you did agree to it. We all have soul contracts before we come into to the bodies that we're in now. And within that soul contract, part of what you agreed to would have been something like that. Like you wouldn't be doing it if you hadn't agreed to it. The ETs are not about capturing people and kidnapping them or anything like that. That's not what it's about. It's a cooperative program. So it's just saying that you're probably a genetic participant. Okay, and then jump in. Andromedan energy adventures say yes to change. Andromeda is a spiral galaxy, the closest galaxy to the Milky Way. It's believed that Andromedan starseeds are a group of beings who love their freedom. Very adaptable, they have a strong willingness and ability to change and go with the flow, to find calm in the chaos, to swim with the tides. This card is here to encourage you to do the same. Perhaps you have a significant goal or opportunity ahead of you. If so, you're being guided to jump in. Don't wait for permission. Don't stall until you feel ready. Take a deep breath, a good old run up, and jump right on in. Life bends for the courageous, and courageous is what you're being called to be. You're already facing the right direction. The only thing left to do is leap. You'll figure out the details as you go along. Things may not always be smooth sailing. Life on Earth rarely is. However, it's the rougher seas that teach us how to sail with glory. And once you know that, you can navigate any sea, ocean, or storm. The Andromedans want you to fall in love with surfing the waves of life, to seek more adventures, to embrace your own adaptability, and find a way to be the calm in the chaos. You didn't come to Earth to be passive. You came to Earth to truly live. Now, take a good run up and leap. All right, and your final card is about exploring, so I think that is exactly what you're going to be doing. So that's the reading for those of you who picked the smoky quartz point. And now I'm going to gather up the cards, and then I have a little wrap up for everybody. Thank you all for watching this reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful for you. These are the guidebooks for the decks that I have been using in this reading. The contact cards are just an amazing bunch of cards. I'm still getting used to them, but they're just, the more I read them, the more they just kind of open up to me. The ET Experiencer Oracle deck by Tana Newberry and Misha Johnston, just amazing cards. Just, again, the more I get into them, the more I love them. The contact cards, I failed to say, are by Kim Carlsberg and Daryl Anka. And Daryl Anka is the person who channels Bashar. So if you've ever seen his channeling, if you've looked at it on Gaia TV or on YouTube, he's pretty amazing. And it's amazing that they wrote all of this stuff in this book in 1996. But Kim is also an ET experiencer herself. The Starseed Oracle is by Rebecca Campbell and Danielle Noel. I just enjoy doing these readings so much. I'm so excited that people even like watching them, and I do get a pretty high viewership for these videos. So please tell your friends. Please help me get my subscribership up. That would be great. Once I make 2,500 subscribers, I will be giving away another free reading. So let's make that happen. Thank you so much. Have a great week. Enjoy the readings, and I will see you next time. And on the way out, I have some beautiful scenes for you to look at with some beautiful music. Thank you, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.